Hi everyone. Today we have the pleasure to have Mr. Luis Allen as our guest speaker. Luis is talking to us from Costa Rica, from Turrialba, and we will be listening to his perspectives. Let me give you a little bit of background about Mr. Allen. He has a bachelor's degree in economics with emphasis in administration, and then he did a master's degree, an MBA, master's degree on administration with emphasis in finance here in the United States. And since his return to Costa Rica, has been involved in social movements in the area of Turrialba, particularly in regards to the construction of dams in the rivers in the Turrialba area, and how he considers that the construction of these dams will just increase the social and economic disparities in the region instead of doing good. Also, more recently, he has been involved in the political process in the country. In his region now, he is working with the Partido de Liberación Nacional, and in April the 15th, he will be participating in elections within his party for positions in the coming elections in the country. So, Luis, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. And as we mentioned before, I would like to ask you a few questions and get your opinions and perspectives given your background.
Okay, thank you for thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to be part of this lesson. And I'll be glad to contribute in everything that is possible.
Thank you, Luis. So the first question is, what do you consider? You being a person that is involved and committed to the social and environmental causes in your region, what do you consider to be the most relevant or important issues or problems nowadays in Costa Rica in general and in Turrialba in particular?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, well, in Costa Rica, we have a lot of problems. But in Turrialba, we have other problems which we're trying to handle in a way separate than the rest of the country. Regarding culture, I think our culture definitely needs to make some changes or some adjustments to try to integrate to the to the globalization. What I'm trying to say is that, for example, our country, we're not exempt from consumption, and today our consumption has gone beyond what we consider normal. So that means we have a lot of waste. We have a lot of things that we need to be handling in a way that should be should be good to try to keep our country, excuse me, clean and free from a lot of stuff that we don't need. So basically, we need to educate our people in the way they consume, in the way they purchase, in the way we do things. And for example, at this point, we're dealing with consumption in the sense that right now our country is full of technological garbage that we do not know how to handle, and we do not want to take that to the landfill just because the problem there has been eternal, and if we put all these technological devices that are not no longer good, I think we will be going into deeper problems. So what I'm going to suggest to the consumers is that we need to find how to get the companies that are importing all this technology to find a way to deal with it, to find a way that when the device is no longer good, they they can take it back and do something with it without harming the environment.
Good,
Okay?
great. And do you this change of culture that you mentioned is based on educating the people of how to consume and prefer products that don't hurt the environment and fulfill the needs, correct?
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, in terms of economics, what are your main thoughts or concerns about the economic situation in Costa Rica?
Okay. Right now, our economic situation is not good. For example, Costa Rica has become like, or let me say it this way: our economy used to be dependent on coffee and banana exports. Today, tourism has become our number one source of income. Due to the international crisis, Costa Rica has not been receiving the amount of people that used to visit our country. And that is due to the situation in other parts of the world, specifically in the United States, where at least 90% of those people visit our country. So right now, we're trying to find new markets to try to bring resources to our country. And I understand that some of our officers at the governmental level, they've been visiting China to try to get the middle class Chinese to visit our country so that we can get to the break-even point where businesses and consumers can really do a good job. So economically, I'm afraid that our country is not performing as it used to, but at this point, we're trying to find new markets to try to bring people to visit our country because Costa Rica is known as a green country. No, just this morning I was reading the newspaper and I read an article that was talking about sexual tourism growing up. And I'm afraid that that is going to be taking place from now on because I regret the fact that we have people coming into our country just for immoral purposes. And we would like to send a message to the world to say that we are welcoming everyone, but we want people to contribute in a way that, as a human species, we will find ways how to dignify the people.
Oh, that's a very good point. Very good point. Now, do you so besides, as you said, the largest contributor to the Costa Rican economy is tourism, and are there efforts to diversify the economy? You know, try to get more income from coffee or bananas or some other activities besides tourism, or is it everything mostly concentrated on enhancing the tourism activity?
Okay, really, regarding coffee, I understand that there's some areas in Costa Rica that have been going organic. That means that the coffee is selected and it's treated just as we call it, golden bee. So that means that that coffee is very expensive, and not all the markets in the world are willing to pay the price for that coffee. However, we have some regions in Costa Rica that are going that way just because the coffee has been proven really good.
Yes. I mean, the Costa Rican coffee has a big reputation worldwide. It's a high quality coffee. So let me ask you this: um, there is we have found several readings, articles, news reports with a little bit of controversy about the value of ecotourism for Costa Rica. What is your opinion about the value of ecotourism for Costa Rica? Is it contributing to the country, to enhancing the situation of the country and the people, or is it really has become a problem that is not delivering a better situation for the country?
I believe that we are a green country, but when we say we're a green country, not everyone in the country is contributing to go green. What I mean is that you will find people in some areas burning stuff, burning garbage, just throw stuff in the rivers, rivers that have been for thousands of years clean rivers. Today they're dirty rivers, just because, for example, I've known some areas where the rivers at this point they're just full of garbage, meaning that the people that throw the garbage there, they're not culturally oriented or educated in a way that they can say, oh, well, listen, this, we're depending on tourism. All the tourists need to see not only that the country is green, but we have a behavior towards preserving the country green. So that second part, we need to work on it very thoroughly, because I think there has been um, uh, some misconception from some people, just thinking that the word going green is just because people can look at our vegetation and say the country is green. I believe that an ecotourism country that is green needs a behavior that can match what we sell and the way we live. So there's where we need to focus on, to get all our people, or everyone who comes and visit and are part of this, to live a lifestyle in the green, or to put it in another word, to live according to what we tell the world we are.
Good, good. Now you mentioned within the topic, we're on the topic of economics. When we had our conversation last year, you mentioned that you feel that there is not an equitable distribution of the wealth in the country. That you feel that there is a lot of poverty, a lot of people that are not being benefited by the economic activities. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, well, indeed, basically, when we talk about tourism, we're thinking that the dollar that we're receiving are staying in one hand. We definitely need that dollar to democratize the dollar. We need that everyone who is involved in this activity that should be able, in a proportional way, to earn some money to be able to feed their family or to be able to put food on their tables. But when we have just a few businesses getting like the big bucks and the rest are just getting crumbles, then I'm really concerned, because maybe the money is not even enough to take care of the basic needs of their families. Today, I was talking to a Dutch one who owns a hotel in Turrialba, and she was telling me that the year of 2011, 12, and 2013, it hasn't been what she expected it to be. And I said, you know what? I believe the same thing too. But I'm not sure if we're doing enough to attract people, or the situation in other parts of the world is not as good as we think it is. But we definitely need to start doing, and another thing that I think we need to start doing is to start to find new attractions for tourists.
I see.
No, no more beaches, no more sex tourism. What we need to find is ecotourism. People building their little hotels and their little farms. Show the tourists how to do the garden, how to plant X or Y product, so that they become part of that experience, and in a way be able to go home as someone who has contributed for the well-being of the workers that attended there, or the country who is receiving part of that is taxes.
Yeah, that's an excellent idea. I think it's very, very important because sometimes those kinds of tourist experiences can be achieved by staying with the farmers and just participating in their daily lives. And they have no need for infrastructure investments in terms of hotel and swimming pool and whatever. It's just share their daily lives. That's a wonderful experience that many of us will pursue. That's a great idea.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I agree as well.
Yes, good. So now, also regarding the distribution of income, when we talked last, you mentioned that Turrialba probably is an area in the country that has not a very good economic situation. What can you tell us about the economic situation by the regions of the country?
Okay, let me talk about Turrialba. 50 years ago, Turrialba used to be one of the most successful regions in Costa Rica due to the productivity of coffee and sugarcane. Over the years, I just don't know what happened, but it seems like all the different part of the chain that produce coffee and sugarcane, they have been going out of business to the point that today we're trying to get more tourists into the area. Turrialba has volcano and after volcano we have another green area. We have some rivers, wild rivers, some of them are dam as well. We have nice people. We have a lot of different things. This year or last year, 2012, Turrialba was declared an official destination for the ICT, which is the institution who organized the tourist activities in the master plan in Costa Rica. And I think the fact that they include Turrialba good because that means anywhere they do their market, their publicity, everyone is going to be able to see that Turrialba is the place in Costa Rica where you do rafting. Because I think we have plenty of rivers for that activity. But it hasn't been done that way. So I think that as as a citizen of this area, we need to start promoting the small businesses and preparing them in a way that they can set up businesses, create job employment, stop depending on what the government wants. Because sometimes they do stuff that we don't agree with and they are totally in opposition on what the region is doing as a whole.
I see. Very interesting. Now, in terms of the environment, what do you consider to be the most important issues that Costa Rica is facing regarding the environment?
Okay, well, regarding the environment, I understand right now that talking about, we're trying to find different ways how to deal, for example, with the production of energy. At this point, we're still using fuel energy for some things, and we want to use renewable or green energy to continue growing as a country. The problem I have with that is that the, the ICE, which is the company that does all the all the energy distribution and production, they continue to think that the more rivers we dam, the more energy we will have. And I'm afraid that one of these days we won't have any rivers left, and it will be counterproductive that we have to go back and take away or tear down the dams to have the rivers running again freely. But at this point, I just want the government to think in terms of balance. We can use some rivers and dam these rivers, but we need to find for example, we have great volcanoes in Costa Rica, which should be going at this point geothermal, trying to get heat out of the volcanoes and trying to to convert it into energy. Also, that another source of energy, it could be the eolic one. We have a lot of areas in Costa Rica where we can produce eolic energy. Then, having said this, I think that in terms of environmental issues, Costa Rica needs to define which way we want to go. If we want to continue using fuel energy or we want to go renewable, and what sources we have to go one way or the other. And that's important, right? Because that's the basis of our production. That's what I think that are in this want to. They want to have renewable or green energy, and they want it at a cheap price. And also, the population is growing for two reasons. One, we have a lot of immigrants coming into the country, for example, from Nicaragua, looking for better opportunities. And the rate of birth in Costa Rica is not it's not as bad as places. I think people are very concerned here having more than two children, and I think that that has kept a lot of people in the line of just two kids. So we're trying to go in two, three kids, and that's something that needs to be addressed in a very responsible way in Costa Rica.
Great, Luis. Good. And so, what is your feeling that what are the main challenges that you feel the country will face? For example, if you win the election and you become a public official, what are the things that you feel you will have to be dealing with when you become, I know, in the political arena?
Okay, well, listen, at this point, I am very excited that our party is one of the oldest party in Costa Rica, and we're very proud that our generation that is pushing to get through will be elected. The only or one of the problems I think we'll have is that the opposition, because we used to be a bipartisan country, we're no longer bipartisan anymore. I feel there's just one political structure, and we definitely need to we definitely need to we definitely need to think in terms of if we have just one political party, we do not want to become a dictatorship. So we want to make a change from the inside, in the sense that this political party has been a party for the people, for the workers, for everyone who needs an opportunity. And we need to look at all the people that are going to be in this party, in the sense that we and party can continue to be a source or a tool to help reduce poverty. But looking at what's going on right now, I'm just afraid that at the very high level, some people will want to do what they feel like just because they have the total power. And the opposition is just looking weak at this point. Right now, we've listened to a lot of different coalitions that they don't work because everyone thinks they are presidential. Everyone wants to be president. And I think that the reason we make a coalition is not that everyone wants to be elected. We just make a coalition because we think that we can pull together and take the country in a way that is going to be safe for our generations and for the next generation.
Great, Luis. I certainly hope everything will go well with people like you that has clear thinking and have good intentions in mind and in the heart. Is there something else you would like to add to the thoughts you have given us?
Well, I would like to say that I appreciate the fact that I met you some years ago, and that our friendship is still a good friendship, and I'm here for you or for anyone there at the school, anything that I can help in what I'm doing, please just let me know, and I'll find a way to get back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Luis. We really appreciate it, and certainly we're gonna try to modify our course so that we can stop by Turrialba and chat with you in person in the future. So again, Luis, we really appreciate your time and your thoughts, and we'll be talking some more in the future.
Thank you very much, Rafael, and bye bye.
Thank you.